Hey friends, I'm back with another starter house speed build, but this time in San Sequoia. Let's check it out. So this build was actually a suggestion by one of you, so thank you for the comment, I appreciate it. And they suggested building in San Sequoia, so I thought I would do a starter for a family of four, using only base game and growing together, since that's the pack that San Sequoia came with. And I thought I would go in a more modern direction with this one, since the last couple that I've done have been quite a bit more, I guess, traditional or uh, kind of standard suburban houses. So yeah, I thought I'd kind of switch it up for this one. And you'll see me messing around with the floor plan quite a bit, at least the size of the build, just since I started off way too big and I just had to keep shrinking it down. But, by the end, I think I got to a place where it felt decent. It was small enough to not feel empty, but it wasn't, so big that, or so small that you couldn't fit everything in there. But yeah, I think it worked out pretty well. And for the roof here, I was actually going to do a flat roof because that'd be a little bit more modern, but it would have cost like an extra 1,000 simoleons to do like a half wall around it, which, is kind of necessary if you're going to do that in order for it to look nice. So that was kind of expensive, and since I'm already doing 2 levels for this build, which is already pretty expensive, I decided to just do a kind of a standard slanted roof, and I think it worked out well. But yeah, if you decide you want to download this off the gallery, which it's available if you'd like to, if you wanted to make it a little bit more modern, you could probably swap out that roof. And of course, the biggest challenge with a starter is staying within budget. And I struggled a bit with trying to use as much of the items from growing together as I could, just since a lot of those items are very expensive, especially the kitchen things. Like, I think the fridge is around 2,000 simoleons and the stove is like 3,000. It's kind of crazy. So I definitely leaned heavy on base game items that were cheaper, but I wanted to make sure I got as much stuff from growing together as I could. And there are a few things that I kind of splurged on. But I also have, or I also used the this sort of like wood siding from growing together, which I think looked great for this build. Worked, kind of fit into that modern theme, and I used the front door from that pack as well, which was a little bit of a splurge. I think that door is like 400 or 500 simoleons. So some of the choices maybe not the smartest, but I wanted to use as much from that pack as I could. But all of the windows that I used are actually the new base game ones that they added recently. So those worked out really great. They fit in really well to kind of a modern aesthetic, and I think some of the other ones work better in maybe a more traditional or whatever house. And of course, I had to use the new cabinets and counters that came with the base game, since they're probably the most modern-ish. Maybe the style might be, I don't know, maybe a little bit more contemporary than modern per se, but it's kind of tough to get everything to look in kind of the same theme like that. But I think they fit in pretty well, even though they are a little bit more expensive. And yeah, again, just kind of rearranging things, moving around walls and stuff to try to get the layout right. This ends up being a 2-bedroom house, so 1 bedroom for the parents and then 1 for the kids. So I made it for 2 adults and 2 child sims. And yeah, I think that worked out pretty well. There's also plenty of space if you wanted to add a 3rd bedroom or like an office above the living room. I kind of kept it open to the 1st floor. But you could wall it off and create another room there if you wanted to. I thought about doing that, but I just was trying to save money on like extra doors and walls and stuff. So plus there wouldn't really be anything in the room, so I didn't think it would make a lot of sense. But yeah, plenty of room if you want to expand in the future. And I also brought some of that wood siding inside as kind of like an accent wall in the living room area. And I start with this more orangey color, but I do darken it down a little later on. And then I'll kind of match in the dining room set just so it coordinates a little bit. But I went with the lighter wood floors throughout that feels, kind of modern right now. And yeah, I used a lot of the flooring and walls from Growing Together, like for the bathroom and the kitchen area especially. I think those worked out really nicely. And for the interior bedroom and bathroom doors that I used, I believe those came with a base game update a while back. I can't remember exactly when, but I always forget about them just because they, like the default swatch is the same as the like commercial bathroom doors that are in the game. So I just kind of like glaze over them, I guess. I don't know. I just kind of forget that they exist. But yeah, they worked out really well in here. They're, a bit more modern than some of the other doors in the game. And they're a bit more affordable too, which was nice. And for the kids' room, I definitely wanted to make sure I had at least a couple of toys in there, just so they had something to do. Otherwise, it's, can be kind of bleak. But yeah, able to fit a couple of things in there. And I went with bunk beds, which are great. The only thing is, I don't know if it's a bug in my game or what, but for some reason, they couldn't use the bottom bunk when it was kind of sticking out like that. Even though it snapped in correctly, and I even like turned off move objects and replaced it and stuff, and I don't know, they still wouldn't use it. But if the bed is completely like under the top bunk, then it seemed to work fine. So that was kind of a weird thing. And if you do download this house, I uploaded it before I fully play tested it, so that's my bad. But I left a note in the gallery too to move the bed, in case you have that issue. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe there's like a mod or something that was causing it, but just FYI. And yeah, in the kitchen, I decided to add a little island, which maybe not the best use of money, but it just, I don't know, I think it helped make it feel better. And I did forget to put a sink in at this point, but I do put in one later, so no fears if you notice that I forgot to put a kitchen sink in. Yeah, I do get that later. And yeah, just kind of working on the living room. I was struggling for a while on this. I don't know. I think it was the orange color that was kind of throwing me off. I wasn't really sure if I wanted the like TV stand to blend in or stand out. So I was struggling for a little bit. And I did splurge on the couch from Growing Together because the couch is kind of expensive. But I wanted to make sure I had some pieces from that pack for sure. And I just really like the couch too. And I'll also put in the like rocking chair that came with that pack. So there's, a few bits of furniture in here. And yeah, I was going to try to use the really tall bookcase. And it did kind of fit there, but I don't know, it just wasn't looking quite right. So I do swap it out for the wall shelf that's from base game, I believe. Which, yeah, of course, it would be from base game or Growing Together. So yeah, and then I used the that kind of, I don't know, I guess it's technically a console table that the TV snapped to, which was nice. Because for some reason, not all of the accent tables allow you to put a TV on, like, that snap automatically, which is kind of annoying, but I'm glad that that one did. So, I don't know, I think having it higher up helped a bit too, just so it didn't look like it was just on a regular coffee table. I think that made a difference too. And for the exterior of the build, I definitely wanted to make sure to get in some more activities, especially for kids. So I got a couple of bikes for them, and then I splurged on the treehouse item. That was pretty expensive, but it is kind of like a key item for this pack, especially if this is supposed to be like a more family focused build. So yeah, I got that in there. It is not. The treehouse isn't built on the gallery version, but you will see it built in the tour because I had just had them build it while I was testing things. So yeah, that'll be on there. And I added some of these empty picture frames, which are great. I think those came with Growing Together. But I did size down the one with like the really large picture, and I think that may have broken it because I tried to add some pictures to it when I was playtesting and it was not working. So I think sizing it down was not the move. So if it's not working for you, you might just have to like size it back up. So sorry about that. I didn't realize that would matter, but I guess that makes sense since, you know, the pictures are all kind of like a specific size, so, you know, they won't snap in if they're, you know, not the right size. And I had to edit the roof a little bit just so I could make sure that the, you know, how the walls were painted, like on the regular floor, would match correctly with the roof. I really wish they would update the roof so you could paint individual sections of the wall. That would be really nice. That I would love to see that. And yeah, just kind of work on the landscape now. I pulled out a whole bunch of things, and since I couldn't afford to put a fence around the whole lot, I just put in you know, a hedge around to give it a little sense of, you know, privacy, or just enclose the space a little bit, which I think worked out pretty well. You know, the debug landscaping options always coming in clutch for this. So yeah, that was super helpful. And like I said, this was a suggestion from one of you all. So again, thanks for the suggestion. Really appreciate it. If you would like to see me build anything, please leave it below. I'd love to hear that. I'm working on a list of builds. So yeah, I think coming up next, assuming I can get it done, my plan for Friday's video at least is to do a countryside cemetery with like an underground crypt. I was originally going to try to renovate the kind of existing cemetery that came with Life and Death and put a crypt under there. But I think I want to just like build my own like full cemetery, which is a bit more involved than I was planning. So yeah, it's taken a little bit longer to get that one put together, but yeah, I'm hoping to have that one out. And I'm going to try to make the crypt relate at least a little bit to the like pop-up cards that you get when you explore the crypt in the game. So I've been like playing through that, trying to like figure out what sorts of rooms and stuff I would need. So yeah, pretty excited about that one. I think that'll be a fun one to put together. So yeah, please let me know if you have any suggestions on anything you'd like to see me build. And yeah, just kind of finishing up with some details here, doing some different lighting. I did add a couple of the lights from Growing Together down on this first floor, which I love. I use those lights all the time in other builds too. So I was glad I had a little bit of money to do that. And I will say that this lot is a little bit more expensive since it is assuming you have 4 Sims moving in. So if you notice that on the gallery, that's why. So it's not really a starter for a single Sim. But that is going to do it for me, and then I'll leave you with the tour. So thank you again so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, please leave a like. That helps a lot. And subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thank you so much. Have a great day.